altogether better.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Boyle Sports. Now with same-day withdrawals to your Visa debit card.
All right, you're welcome back. John Giles is in studio this evening. 53106 is the text number. Evening, John.
Evening, Nathan.
I'll put you on the spot. You're just drinking your water before we get underway.
Yeah.
Another crazy week in the Champions League. We'll come to that, but another mad week in Irish football and for the FAI. You said last week was a terrible week for Irish football. Was this week even worse?
I'd say so, Nathan, yeah. It was very bad.
What was it from following it?
The newspapers had full of the stories about John Delaney's expenses and, they stopped the grants for the schoolboy football and all the various things. It was just a continuation of last week, only worse.
There's a lot to go through then over the last week, from Deloitte revealing that the FAI weren't keeping proper accounts, to the news which we spoke about, and I think you said might be a good idea that the FAI board step down. That's going to happen over the coming weeks. To John Delaney temporarily stepping aside as executive vice president. So we're in a situation today where really for the first time in 15 years, John Delaney is no longer running Irish football. John Tracy said yesterday, from what he gathers, John Delaney isn't part of the FAI anymore, that he's on gardening leave at the moment. From everything you've followed over the last few weeks, would it be the right thing for John Delaney to step away from Irish football?
Well, I think there's such amount of criticism now, and it gets to the stage in this situation where the right thing to do would be to resign. I don't know whether John is fixed up in Europe or not. I don't know what the situation is.
I don't think there's any real clarity around that now. Obviously, the role of executive vice president would have seen him maintain that, but because he has stepped aside, I don't think anyone really knows what's going to develop with the roles in UEFA.
Yeah. Well, I think it gets to the stage this way, where there is a demand, there's lack of confidence in the whole situation. The board are resigning en bloc, it looks like, as well. And I think it would be very, very difficult for John to stay on.
What's your relationship been with John Delaney over the years?
Well, my relationship has been pretty good in terms of I was with him in the foundation, grassroots. I did a lot of travel in grassroots. John Delaney was brilliant in grassroots football. You'll get a lot of letters coming in.
Well, we've seen that, I think, over the last couple of weeks.
What he's done. And the big thing he was at the table in UEFA. Now, the foundation that I have my name to raises very modest funds, to be quite honest, Nathan. But the bulk of the funds came from UEFA.
Okay, so it's not the bulk doesn't come from the various fundraisers that happen around the country. We do our best. We go around the country. I go around the country. If Pat Duffy, a lot of us go around the country. We do certain things. I go around and do dinners and for the local clubs. I've been to every county, Dublin as well. Loads and loads of clubs, because they all need money, as you know, and we raise a fair amount. But the bulk of the money came from UEFA grants. Right. And
that was because of John Delaney.
Because of the connections that were there.
Well, he was at the table. He was at the table where he could. The foundation, John Giles Foundation, is only a vehicle for raising money. We didn't have this is only came in the last couple of years. It didn't start off like that. The foundation, but with John on the committee, at the table, definitely provided the vast majority of the funds at the foundation.
I guess then you'd be hoping and expecting that even if John Delaney does leave the FAI, that position will be kept open. Obviously, he's a member of the Executive Council, but there are other roles that he holds that actually the FAI will be able to nominate somebody else into that position.
I hope so. And I would imagine so. But and that obviously we want the funds to continue. Very, very important to grassroots football, Nathan, as you know. And I know there's been certain situations in recent times in the papers where the foundation has been mentioned, not in a particularly good way, certain hints that there could be this or there could be that. And one of the leading things was in the paper a couple of weeks ago to say that the foundation was a charity, and therefore there hasn't been any books kept or required for the foundation for the last 8 years. Well, the fact is, and I have to read out, it is not a charity. right, is a trust, and therefore does not require the same annual reporting requirements as a charity does. So we're not. It's not a requirement to.
So it's not registered as a charity?
No.
Okay.
No, it's registered as a trust. And the way it's been written, now I don't know the whole details, but it's registered as a trust that it's not a requirement to produce books every year. And I think what's happened to one or two of the journalists is that they've assumed it was a charity and couldn't find, as if it was missing, that the books weren't in.
Right.
Books have never were required to be in.
So is
there's no books missing.
Is the foundation then part of the FAI?
No. The foundation is independent of the FAI. Now, the FAI obviously run it, because I can't run it on my own. I wouldn't be.
So maybe talk us through that, because look, you're clearly aware that obviously every aspect of the FAI has been analysed at the moment, and the John Giles Foundation has come under the spotlight.
Yes.
Talk us through the start of the foundation. How did it come about? How did you come about to be involved? Who were the people that set it up? Why did they want to set it up? Well,
it was the FAI obviously wanted to set it up because it was something that was good, that could produce funds for grassroots football, and I was well pleased to do it because when I started as a kid, Nathan, I was playing Norman Square. Grassroots football was there on the streets, right? Now, can't play football on the streets anymore. So kids, and I had pals who, still have pals today, who went up a bit in football, played a couple of League of Ireland, and I was very lucky to play at international level. But if I hadn't been playing ball on the streets, I wouldn't have made it to international football, right? And also, which is just most important even, is that it kept us out of trouble. I would have got into trouble when I was a kid, right? But we're playing football all the time. It kept us out of trouble, right? Nowadays, there isn't street football. The kids need the conditions and the facilities now than ever before. And I appreciate that, and I know that. And whatever I can to do to help that, I'll do. I've done it so far for 9 years, and if I live long enough, I'll do it for the next 9 years, because I think it's important. We're not going to produce international footballs. It's unlikely we'll produce international football, but we could from the works of the foundation, but it's most unlikely. But what we will do is help to give kids the facilities to become good individual citizens of the country. And I don't mean that in a pat myself on the back, but that's what's needed. And the more money we can put into grassroots football, the most likely that is to happen. And that's what I have been trying to do for the last 9 years, and try to do for hopefully for the next 9 years.
So what is your role in the organisation? Is it to...
Well, I'm a front man. I'm a front man. Nathan, I wouldn't be capable of running the foundation. I left school when I was 14. I wouldn't be capable to do it. So without the people doing it, my job is as a name that's noted more than anybody else that can do it for the foundation. It's John Giles Foundation. Most people know my name, and I'm a front man for that. I go around the country. I raise as much money as I possibly can at dinners and doing dinners and all the various things that we do, and I enjoy doing it. And I'll do it as long as I possibly can, because I think it's good for the game. I think it's good for the kids, and it's just good generally. And I have to say, Nathan, and again, I'm not patting myself on the back, I don't get any money for this.
Right.
I didn't come in...
It's an unpaid role.
It's a totally non-paid role, right? I didn't ask for money. I wasn't offered money. Didn't want any money to do it. I just do it because I think it's a good thing to do, and I'm able to contribute in some way, small way, to grassroots football.
In the statement that was released when John Delaney was moving to the new role of Executive Vice President, in that part of his continuing roles was his involvement in the John Giles Foundation.
Yes.
What was John Delaney's role over the last few years?
Well, John was a trustee. I was a trustee. There were 2 or 3 or 4 trustees. And I think in John's situation, John was a trustee mainly because he was the chief executive. Now that John is not a chief executive anymore, I'm sure that the next meeting or two we'll have to, if whoever does become the next CEO.
You'd hope that they'd just step into that role.
Step into that particular role.
I'm sure from what you were saying about the questions journalists are asking, that you're aware of the story in last weekend's Sunday Independent of the Director of Corporate Enforcement. They received this protected disclosure around concerns of governance at the FAI, and it included questions around how funds linked to the John Giles Foundation are operated.
Yeah.
Having had a bit of time to look at that, are you confident that any money belonging to the foundation has been used in the right way?
Well, first of all, I don't know what the accusation is. I think the legal people at the FAI are allowed to find out exactly what it is. I'd like to know myself exactly what it is, but I'd be very confident that the money that came into the trust, the foundation, went out in grants to the teams around the country that apply for them. That's what I know, Nathan. And I would be very disappointed or surprised if there was anything else that didn't occur, as I've said.
I'm sure it's not a nice thing to pick up the paper on a Sunday morning and see your name suddenly in the middle of all this controversy and all this scandal. Like, are you annoyed with what's gone on at the FAI, that you found yourself dragged into this?
Well, I think it's the way it goes in this particular situation. You know, once we're in the situation, and then people in newspaper guys, they're only doing their job, are looking out to see. To be honest, I don't think the newspaper guys are after me. They're after what they could get out from it, probably against John Delaney. And I feel a little bit sad that I'm in a position that I have to justify myself. You know.
Are you worried about it?
No, I'm not worried about it, Nathan. No, because I know I haven't done anything wrong. I know that I haven't taken any money from the foundation. I believe in the foundation. I will continue to work and hope for years to work in the foundation. I think the foundation so far, over the 9-10 years, has raised a lot of money.
Yeah.
No, see what I find with schoolboy football. You'd want to be having loads of money to really solve the problem. But you get clubs that we give them enough to get a set of jerseys or a nets, and I found them unbelievably grateful for that. You know, every little helps, and you'd be amazed. I'd go down the country, go in Dublin as well, how a set of jerseys or footballs or something can actually help. You know. And that's really at grassroots football. And the people I find, I go down the country in Dublin, they're absolutely brilliant. The people who run schoolboy football.
Yeah.
The time they put into it, the parents put into it, the kids go out and play. And the fact that the kids are out playing, obviously, it's keeping them healthy, it's keeping them right. A lot of them, I found for every one player in my time and since, for every one international you produce, there's 1,000 kids who will never be international football. But it's part of their life to actually play football. I don't care whether it's football.
Yeah, well, look, it's just as important.
They're out. And I know from my own experience in Ormond Square, if we didn't have football, there's no doubt, I would have got into some sort of mischief or trouble. I've no doubt about that. Whereas I was playing football from morning to night, getting tired, going to bed, and all my pals were the same. And thank God, all of us grew up okay.
Yeah. You're happy then to continue with the John Giles Foundation, to continue to have your name associated with it?
Definitely,
yeah.
Definitely. I'd be very disappointed if I wasn't. And I hope, I'm getting on a bit now, Nathan, that it lasts another 9 years.
Yeah, hopefully. And look, the sad thing about all this is that there's obviously good people working on the foundation who are putting in a lot of effort. A lot of people out at the FAI as well, where clearly we hear that morale is pretty low, which is understandable, because I'm sure people are very worried about their futures. We don't know what happens next. Like, we've heard calls for maybe a renaming of the FAI, a winding down of the FAI, a totally new football structure put in place in this country, which won't be an easy thing to do considering the constitution of the FAI that's there, where it seems the 60 council members still have huge influence and the next board may have to come from those council members. Like, names like Niall Quinn have been bandied about as potential CEOs, that there should be a role in there for Brian Kerr. What do you think should happen next? Should those type of figures...
Well, I think we should look out for what first of all, find out what is required from the CEO, right? And then go and try and get the man that fits that requirements. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be Niall Quinn. It doesn't have to be any ex-professional footballer. It's somebody that can do the job. That's the most important thing. It doesn't have to be a football man. Obviously, if you're getting the top man in, has an interest in football. But this is a business situation. It's not a footballer situation. It's somebody that can come in and do the job like they do in big companies.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to come in. And let him say, right, this is what I need to run this particular organisation. Okay, it's football, but it still needs a business mind to do it. I'm not saying Niall Quillen doesn't have it, but like he hasn't had an experience that I know of some of the top business people that can come in and do the job that I think is required.
Yeah. We shall see what happens.
Yeah.
I suspect we're going to be talking about this for a few more weeks yet.
Yeah, well, hopefully we get it right, Nathan, and that's the main thing, you know.
Yeah. John, there's obviously a lot to talk about what happened on the pitch over the last couple of days. We'll get on to that. We'll take a quick break, grab a drink of water. 53106 is the text number. If you have any questions, if you're watching the football over the last couple of nights, John is live in studio with us this evening. You can leave a comment on our social channels as well.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by the new and improved Boyle Sports Bet Builder. Now with 44 markets to choose from on every match.
It can take just seconds to lose everyone you love. Seconds to see your life destroyed before your eyes. Hannah had a home and family once, but it was ripped away from her. No time to escape, no time to hide. The war in Syria taking everything away from her. But this Lent, you can help change the life of Syrians like Hannah. Donate now on trocra.org or call 1-850-408-408. Trocra, until love conquers fear.
If you're thinking of buying a residential rental property, ICS Mortgages can provide an excellent range of flexible buy-to-let mortgages, including interest-only terms of up to 15 years. We'll also help you to refinance your existing portfolio and grow your property investments. Call 1890 427 427, visit icsmortgages.ie or contact your local mortgage broker. ICS Mortgages, the property investor's choice. Lending criteria, terms and conditions apply and are subject to change. The entire amount that you have borrowed will still be outstanding at the end of the interest-only period. Dilosk DAC, trading as Dilosk and ICS Mortgages, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Oh, hello, love. I see you've turned our shed into a space station?
It's my research bunker,
Of course.
where I track every price fluctuation and cross-reference geopolitical events to anticipate promotional offers.
Right, well, if I could just get the lawnmower.
And I'm close, Peter. I'm close to finding the way to save on car insurance.
But I've already done that. I went to 123.ie and saved 10%, no hassle at all.
Oh, I might get out of here then. I think the spiders have made a nest in my hair.
Simple is smarter. Get 10% off new car insurance when you buy online at 123.ie. Acceptance criteria, T's and C's apply. 123 Money Limited trading as 123.ie is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. RSA Insurance Ireland Act provides 123.ie car insurance.
It's the Easter Bank Holiday, and you know what that means. The Harvey Norman Bank Holiday Weekend Sale is now on, with massive savings on appliances, technology and interiors, with sofas from just €389, up to 50% off Irish-made mattresses, beds and bedroom furniture, dining tables from as little as €140, and an incredible 50% off selected home accessories and bed linen. The Harvey Norman Bank Holiday Weekend Sale, in store and online. But hurry, sale must end Monday.
Go, Harvey, go!
There's over 120 fabulous places to shop at Dundrum, and over 25 places to coffee, snack or brunch, and over 15 places for long lunching or late dining, and a cutting-edge cinema with 12 screens and 3D showings, and a theatre, Dundrum Town Centre, where more happens.
Hello, Pat McDonough here from Supermax. We've been buying fresh chicken from Irish farmers for over 40 years because fresh Irish chicken means better quality and better taste. It's 100% fresh Irish chicken, unprocessed and delivered to our restaurants daily.
The deliciously fresh range from Supermax. Download our app or order online. Supermax.ie.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Boyle Sports. Now with same-day withdrawals to your Visa debit card.
Welcome back. John Giles is still with us in studio. We will get on to what happened on the pitch, but there is a text in from Kelly saying John should push the people who run his foundation to keep books, even if they are not required, to ensure the donors feel confident that everything is above board.
Well, we do keep books. I didn't say we didn't keep books. I said we weren't required to publish them. Nah, that's all. And another thing I meant to mention then, 2 years ago we had Grant Thornton in, which was separate from the FAI's auditing.
It's ongoing at the moment.
And they did the auditing and gave us a clean bill of health.
Okay.
That's just to put an extra thing to it.
Yeah, and look, I'm sure if it came to it, if the books needed to be released just to move this on and move past, there wouldn't be a major issue with the foundation.
Probably not.
All right, let's move on then. 53106 is the text number. Last night in the Champions League, been talked about as one of the all-time great Champions League games. Spurs, Manchester City. Like, there's so many individual talking points, from the quality of some of the play from Kevin De Bruyne, Raheem Sterling, Heung-min Son, to the controversy, if you can even call it that, around VAR. I guess we need to stop calling it controversy around VAR, because it gets the right decision.
It proves how important it is, Nathan. I mean, nobody could see the offside, you know. And then there was a controversy about the goal that went in
off Llorente's goal.
And people keep saying, and I just touch on this a little bit. A couple of years ago, or last season, I think it was, when Harry Kane was given, remember the goal through VAR?
Yeah, it was only a couple of months ago in the Carabao Cup semi-final against Chelsea.
Only a couple of months, okay. Pochettino is totally against it, VAR. Now, I would have been saying that after last night, but even after the one with, anyway, I don't really understand people who are anti-VAR, right? What they say was it spoils this and spoils that, and then at the end they'll say, but it did bring the right result. That's the most important thing of the lot, you know. And last night was a perfect example of it. You know, the last goal looked, I couldn't see it obviously when they showed it in VAR, but if they didn't have VAR, it certainly would have stood, in my opinion. And if you go back to the game the other night, or last week in Manchester United, when Suarez scored the first goal at Manchester, I mean, nobody would have given that. So, and it's in the early stages of art. It'll get better, Nathan. But the main thing is, and I heard it last year, and Alan Shearer particularly was anti-VAR, and he was talking about the stops here, the stops there, the stops there. And at the end of the big conversation like that, anti-VAR, he said, but we'd have to say they got the decisions right. Like, that's the most important thing. Of course, there's time, but it's in its infancy. That'll get better and better and better. But you do get the right results, and in recent times we've seen that. So,
did we get the right result over the two legs in that game between Spurs and Manchester City?
Well,
regardless of VAR, did Spurs?
I'd say so, Nathan. Like, last night match was dramatic, to say the least, on it. You know, I thought the standard of play to watch it wasn't good.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't think the standard of play was good. There was too many goals given away. You know that
you wouldn't put that down to just the pace, the attacking quality.
A lot of them were mistakes, Nathan. You know, like obviously there was tackle. I'm not trying to tell you awake with him, but if I'm looking at it as an ex-professional footballer, definitely dramatic, exciting, and all those things that you could say. But I thought the actual standard, there were too many goals given away that weren't. And there were some good goals as well, but definitely dramatic. I mean, right up to the last minute, and the VAR situation and everything that goes with it. You know, it's probably everything you'd want in a match without the mistakes.
A lot focuses then on the two managers and the job that Mauricio Pochettino's done, not spending any money over the last couple of transfer windows without Harry Kane.
Yeah,
what did he do over the two legs that was so right, that unsettled Manchester City, that they were able to score so many goals?
Well, it'd be an all-round thing. First of all, you have to defend well. You have to tighten the players down. There's many aspects again. You see, there's never any one secret, Nathan, that you could say, "Oh, we played him in a certain position." Yeah. There's just too many people on the pitch for one particular decision by any of the managers. That's technical. I mean, first of all, the opposite thing for Aguero, for he's most likely to score a goal, you've got to tighten up on this guy. You've got to keep a good. But that's what good players do. They avoid that. I don't think there's any one particular thing. The main thing in football is, first of all, the spirit. Is everybody going to work hard? That's your starting point. You don't have to be a good player. Is everybody going to work hard from start to finish? That's what Spurs did, you know. And they wouldn't win the match without that particular work. And then, obviously, at the end, they got a break. They got a break in it. You know, you need a bit of luck somewhere along the line. But it's not down to any one tactic. It's players playing to their best, in their best positions, working hard, scoring goals, as we know.
Yeah.
You can't put your finger on one thing.
Well,
to say the secret to that was that, you know.
If there was one thing, did Guardiola make a fatal error last week in not starting Kevin De Bruyne, when you look at how well De Bruyne played against Palace at the weekend and again last night?
Yeah, well, don't forget, Aguero missed the penalty last week. Now, that had nothing to do with De Bruyne. I thought he did make a mistake. I thought Sané and De Bruyne should have been on the pitch last week. I couldn't understand why he rested both of them. But you'd have to go back again. Aguero did miss a penalty, Nathan, which cost them the whole tie, right? But De Bruyne played last night, and I couldn't understand it last night. I thought it was a big mistake to not play De Bruyne and Sané last week.
We're very tight on time. Of the other quarterfinals then, Barcelona, Manchester United, Liverpool's win over Porto, which I think was fairly straightforward, and Ajax over Juventus.
Well, Man U were poor, really poor the other night. I don't think Barcelona was, Messi again changes everything. But apart from the first 10, 15 minutes, Barcelona dominated the game. They were poor. The big surprise to me was Ajax. Very, very good, Nathan. I taped that match while I was watching the other one. Really, really good. I mean, I've just mentioned a couple of players there, and I think answer it, De Jong, Tadic, Beek. Lads, what surprised me with them, they were a young team, but when they had the chance to attack, and when the game settled down a bit, they were absolutely brilliant. Some of them should have scored more goals in the second half. So they're nobody say early on, well, they'd be the team to get.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too sure about that.
Dutch football's obviously gone through a pretty rocky period, both with the national teams and at club level. Like Ajax's powers of rejuvenation to get this group together. Unfortunately, even Frankie de Jong already is going to Barcelona.
Yeah.
De Ligt is probably going to leave as well. But it just seems so refreshing to see a young team with that level of confidence.
I didn't really see them before now. I've seen bits and pieces, but I was surprised at them. They're no easy touch, and it is great to see it. And it's whoever's I don't know who the coach is there, but whoever's the coach and who's ever in charge of recruitment.
Well, this
coaching.
is one of the questions, is that you look at the behind-the-scenes team that is at Ajax, who are made up of Edwin van der Sar, who's the general director, Mark Overmars, who's the technical director. Like they go back to their roots.
Yeah.
They bring their influence, all they've learned, and maybe now clubs like Manchester United, when they're talking about technical directors, can go back to someone like van der Sar and bring that info with them.
Yeah, well, that's the way to do it. As long as you're picking the right men, Nathan, See, with lads who produce the players like they have produced, from what we can see, are few and far between. Like I've seen top players go into coaching, great players, but not great coaches.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing lads who are not great, who are ordinary players, really top class coaches. So we don't know what's happening, who it is that's making it happen at Ajax, but it's happening. And you'd have to go with the names that you mentioned.
And also, they're not the manager. It's getting the right people into the right role.
Exactly. Well, if you get the right manager gets the right people, Nathan, the right people then get the right players. The players with promise. And then from that, then you make them into better players. But they have to have the basic quality in the first place. You're not going to have a coach turning a really bad player with no ability into a good player. But they'll have a player with ability into a better one. And that's obviously what Ajax are doing at the moment. So it'll be no easy touch.
We don't have time to get into it, but we do have a text saying, Bet John wishes they'd VAR in 1975 against Bayern Munich. Yeah. I'm thinking what we'll do is...
I would have rather had a straight referee, to be quite honest.
I'm thinking what we'll do is on a quiet Thursday night over the summer, we'll go through times during your career VAR could have made a difference. I imagine they'd be many.
Definitely, yeah. I'd love to do that, Nathan. It'd be good exercise, actually.
Yeah, exactly. We might do that. We might look into some of the... I think there were many in the late 60s and 70s in English football.
And the Irish team.
Screwed over.
And the Irish team, in Bulgaria particularly.
All right, I think we'll try and get the footage, and we'll have a...
Will you get the footage for that, the goals that were disallowed in that, yeah. Yeah, we'll have a look at it, yeah.
All right, that's to come. John, thanks a lot for coming in the studio this evening.
Thanks, Nathan.
All right, quick break, and then we're going to be talking rugby with Brian O'Driscoll.
Join the conversation on Facebook and Twitter.
This Easter, visit screwfix.ie for 8 days of massive savings. Like over €10 off a Titan corded hedge trimmer, now just $34.95. Or €23 off a Hoselock auto reel, now only $81.95. You'll also get free delivery on orders over €70. Hurry though, our Easter deals end Monday 27th.